So in previous session, we discussed what the various groups and options which are available in design tab. So we discussed a themes group, we discussed a page setup, and even how we can apply background styles by using a background group options. So in today's session, we will be discussing whatever the options available in animations tab. In animations tab, we are having three basic groups here. Those are nothing but a preview group, animations, and transition to this slide. So, so here, animation is nothing but a special kind of effect that we can apply for the objects. Sometimes we may apply these kind of animations for the slides also. So these effects are normally called as a transition. So we can apply effects for the slides. So these effects will be called as a transition so that we can choose a special effect which can be applied during the transition between the previous slide and the current slide. Right now we are having what a single slide within the presentation. Assume that I'm going to add a title here. Say for example, I'm going to write MS PowerPoint presentation. And below this, I'm going to include what a title. So chapter 3. Okay. And also let me include one new slide here. And for new slide, let me include one sample title as introduction. And this is what a sample text. Okay. So now what I will do, even we can apply the background color also by using what a format background by right clicking on the slide. You can see here when I right click on the slide, you can see the various options like this. So we can format the background by selecting this particular option so that we can apply what a solid color, solid fill color or gradient colors, or else we can provide a picture or texture graphics as a background. So now I'm going to right click on this and I will click on format background. Now assume that I'm going to fill a solid color here. Let me choose a very light color, which is a decent one. Okay, and click on close. So similarly for the next slide, I will again select the solid color and I will apply the light color one. Okay, so you can see here for the first slide, I have included what navy blue color, navy blue color here as a background. And for next slide, I have included what light pink color so that you can see the transition effect which I am going to apply for this. Now what I will do, I'm going to select the first slide and the transition is what? As I said, this is nothing but a special effect which will be applied during the transition between the previous slide and the current slide. So this is the first slide. Okay, so I cannot apply what a transition for the first slide. So now let me select what the second slide here and let me apply the different transition effects which are available in animations tab. As you can see here, we are having a different kinds of animation effects. So these are what the transition effects we can say. So we can apply these transition effects to the slides so that how your current slide should appear uh, after after the previous slide disappears. Okay, so this is what the transition effects. We can select any one of the transition effects depending upon our requirement. So now let me select what some of the transition effects you can see here. You can observe when I move cursor on a particular transition effects, you can see the effect preview which is displayed in my screen. You can see when I select on a fade smoothly right? So again, if I move to next one, you can see the effects preview, isn't it? So this is how the effect is going to apply for the current slide. So this is how it is going to display the current slide, right? So now let me select this one. Okay, so let me select the first slide. Let me include this one. So now if I go to slideshow here, to go to slideshow, we have to use what? The slideshow button which is available here. As you can see, this is nothing but the slideshow button, right? So we need to click on this, or else we can simply use what? The shortcut key F5 function button. Okay, if I press F5, then also it will start the slideshow. So now you can see here, while displaying the slideshow, we are able to see the special effect. So checker box, like kind of a effects, it has displayed. So when I click on this particular slide, it has to move to next slide. So please observe that while moving to the next slide, it will display that particular effect. Now I'm going to click on this. You can see whatever the transition we have applied, that it has displayed. So this is how we can apply the transition effects between the slides. Transition effects can be applied between the slides. Suppose what happens, sometimes we need to apply what? Some kind of effects for graphical objects. Assume that, let me insert a new slide here. So how to insert a new slide? So you can click on the thumbnail here at the left hand side, where you want to include the slide here. In the slides panel, you can just click and you can press enter, so that it will include what? A new slide like this. Okay. Otherwise, there is one more method. So simply I can right click here. When I right click, you can see a new slide option. So we have to use new slide option to insert what? A new slide. Okay. So now let me use this one. So both are same. So now let me delete all this stuff which I really don't want to keep. Now assume that I'm going to include a certain shapes here. Already you know that how we can include shapes. Okay. So go to insert tab. From illustrations group, I'm going to include what? Different kind of shapes. And you can observe here, I'm going to use what? Grid lines for references. As you can see, we are getting what? Grid lines effects here, right? So you are seeing a dotted lines. So those are what? Nothing but grid lines. These grid lines will help us to place the objects in a systematic manner on the slide. So okay, assume that I can refer these grid lines here, and I can place objects like this. Okay, so likewise we can place various objects according to our convenient. Okay, so now I'm going to format these shape. So I want to change the shape fill color here. So for that, I'm going to click on shape fill option. Okay, so I'm going to select what? A red color, and I don't want to use what? A shape outline. So for that, I'm going to use no outline here. Okay, so this is how we have included the first shape. Assume that I want to place what? Some text within this shape. For that, what I can do, simply I can right click on this particular shape, and we can choose what? Edit text option. So we can choose this edit text option, so that we can edit the particular text here. So now let me click on this, right click on edit text. You can see a cursor is blinking, right? A cursor is blinking within the shape. So here what I can do, I can place my text here. Okay, so now let me include rectangle as a text. As you can see here, we have included what? Rectangle as a text within the shape. So similarly, I'm going to include what? Another shape. Okay, assume that I'm going to place what? A circle. right? So again, I'm going to use what a shape fill option to change the shape fill color, and also I don't want to use outline. Okay, so now I'm going to place the text here. So let me place it as a circle. I can even change the color of the text here by using what a font group. So let me select black color for the fonts. Okay. So likewise, we can choose colors. Okay. So this is how we are going to place some of the objects. Assume that now I want to provide what special effects for these objects. During the slideshow, how these objects should get appear in front of the audience. So for that, we are having a different kind of animation effects. So to apply animation effects, what we need to do, we need to select the object first for which I want to include animation. And later on, we need to click on animations tab. And here you can see we are having animations group here. As you can see here, we are having animations group. By using these group, we can add custom animation for the selected object. Assume that right now it is showing what no animation, because just now we have placed that particular object and we have not applied any kind of a special effect for the object. So that's why it is showing what no animation. And even we can implement animation by using a custom animation, so that it will display custom animation panel. With the help of that panel, even we can add animations in a better way. Okay, so now let me show you how we can apply custom animations. So first we need to remember that we need to select a particular object for which I want to apply the animations. Okay, so now I have selected what rectangle object here, and after this I can click on custom animation, so that it will open what custom animation task panel, so that we can add a animation for individual objects. So now let me click on this. As I click, you can see here at the right hand side, we are having a custom animation panel opened. Okay, so you can see here. So this is how the custom animation looks. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to add effect here by using what add effect button. As you can see, we are having a add button, add effect button, and remove button here. So right now remove button is disabled because we still have not included the effect here. So that's why there is no objects to be removed. So as you can see here, so there is no objects to be removed. So that's why this button is disabled. So when we add special effects for the object, then this object, this remove button is going to enable, right? So now let me show you how we can add the effect. So there are 4 categories of effects available. So when I click on add effect, you can observe here, we are having entrance effect. Entrance effect shows that how object should enter the scene. Okay, so now I have selected what rectangle. So how this rectangle should enter the slide. So that those are the different effects which are coming under what entrance. Again, in entrance effect, we are having a different options here, like blinds, box, checkerboard, diamond effect, fly in, wipe out, wipe in, like that. We are having a different entrance effect options here. So this is what the entrance effect. And we are having an emphasis effect. Emphasis effect is nothing but after entering into the scene, how it has to change the object effect. So that is nothing but emphasis effect. So again, in emphasis, we are having a change font size, font style, grow or shrink, spin effect, etc. So these are what different effect options which are available in emphasis. And sometimes what happens, we need to apply exit effect also. How the object should exit from the scene. So for that, we are having exit effects. like blinds, box, checkerboard, diamond, flyout, wipeout, like that, right? And also we can apply motion paths for the objects by selecting a motion paths effects, wherein which we are having a different line paths here, or else even we can draw our custom path also. So let me show you one by one how we can utilize these effects. So now assume that I want to bring this rectangle object by flying effect. So for that, I'm going to use add effect here, and I'm going to select the entrance so that how it has to enter the scene. So here I'm going to select more effects option here so that it will display entrance effects which are available here. You can see here, you can go through the different entrance effect options here. So these are what different entrance effect options. So you can choose any kind of entrance effects here. So now what I will do, I'm going to select a fly-in option here. As you can see, we are having a different effects here. We can select which effect is suitable for our object. Okay, so now if I select a box, you can see the effect preview, which is displaying behind within the slide. If I select a circle, look at the effect here, how it enters the scene. So similarly, diamond. Okay, so dissolve in, crawl in. So this is how it is going to enter the scene. Okay, so depending upon how you want to enter this particular object into the scene, based on that you can select various effects. So now I'm going to select a fly in option here. So I just want to the rectangle object to be flied in to the scene from the bottom. Okay, so likewise I can select a fly in and let me click on OK. And also you can change the direction. When you can see here in the custom animation panel, I have added what successfully one effect here. As you can see here, for a rectangle object, I have used what one effect. You can see here, this is nothing but showing effect. And how it has to start? On a mouse click. So during the slideshow, until and unless I click on the slide, it will not enter the scene. Look at this. Now I'm going to give a slideshow here. See, the object is entirely invisible. It has not still entered the scene. So now what I need to do, until and unless I click on the slide, the rectangle will not appear on the slide. So now let me click here so that you can see how this rectangle object enters the scene. You can see. So this is how the object is going to enter the scene, right? So even I can change this one. Say for example, I don't want the object to enter on click. Suppose I want the object with the previous, it has to appear, or else after previous effect, it has to enter the scene. So I can change these effects, how the object has to start its execution. So I can select different options here. So even we can change the direction here. As you can see, my rectangle object is coming from bottom position now. So that is because of we have selected the direction as from bottom. Even we can change this direction by selecting what various options which are available here. So let me click on this. You can see the various options like this, how your object should come. Whether it has to come from bottom or from left, from right, from top, or from bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right, like that. We can specify different kind of directions here. And try to remember that these direction effects will be quite different from which effect we are going to use. So based on that, these options are going to change. Okay. So now what I will do, I'm going to select from left, it has to appear. Now you can see the object is entering the scene from the left side. So similarly, I can change the direction by using a from right, so that it comes from the right position. So likewise, we can set the different directions here. And also along with this, you can set the speed of the object entrance. So now we are having a various speeds like a very slow, medium, fast, and very fast. So normally the speed will be very fast only, depending upon the effect what we are going to select. So likewise, we can even change the speed like this. You can see the object is entering the scene very slowly. Okay, because the speed we have selected is very slow. So likewise, suppose I want the speed medium, so you can set the medium so that it will enter the scene smoothly. So likewise, we can select the different variations of speeds here. So now let me select very fast only. So this is how the rectangle object is going to enter the scene. After this, I want a circle has to enter the scene. So for this, again, I'm going to add the effect here. So you can see here, you can see again, I'm going to select a circle here, and I'm going to click on add effect option. Again, I'm going to click on entrance. So now let me click on more effects, and let me select expand. So it has to display like this. Okay, or else we can, let me select a wedge. Okay, so this is looking pretty. So now let me click OK. And here you can observe here. Now I don't want this object to enter the scene on click. So this object entrance should happen after immediately entering the rectangle. This object should get displayed. So now what I need to do, I need to change this start option here. So now I need to select what? After previous, it has to enter the scene. You can see here, for the first object, there is a mouse click event. And for the second object, we have used after previous event. So that means what? A rectangle appears the scene when I click on the slide, and oval appears the scene after the rectangle animation effects ends. So now let me show you during the slideshow how it appears. You can see for rectangle, we have used on click. So now I'm going to click on the slide, object enters, and after the rectangle enters the scene, immediately circle animation plays. So this is how we can apply different effects for various objects. So now, here we need to select this circle object, and here we need to click on this arrow button. As you can see here, we are having a drop down arrow button here. So we need to click on this. Okay. After this, we can select effect options here. Okay. So when we select effect options, you can see the effect related options are appearing in this dialog box, where in which we need to select the timing effect here. You can observe here, we are having a 3 different tabs: effect tab, timing tab, and text animation tab. So we need to select what a timing, because I want to include a delay between the object effects. So rectangle ಬಂದ ನಂತರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟೈಮ್ ಡಿಲೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಅಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ದು. ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, we have to increase the delay seconds here. So now the delay second is what? 0 seconds. So that is nothing but after immediately the rectangle effect plays, immediately circle animation effect starts playing. But I don't want such effect now. So it has to get a delay before it enters the scene. Okay. So now what I need to do, I need to increase this delay timing here. Let me provide 4 seconds. Okay. So now let me click on OK. So now, if I start a slideshow, now you can see on click, rectangle enters the scene and it waits for 4 seconds. And after 4 seconds, next effect is going to play. So this is how we can increase the delay timing between the objects. So hope you got my point. Now let me show you some more interesting one. Already we have applied certain effect for a rectangle object here, isn't it? So now, even though we have included effect for rectangle object, even though we can add what other effects also by selecting what add effect button here. So now let me show you. After entering this scene, now I want to spin the rectangle object. Okay, after entering the rectangle object, it has to spin. So for that, we can use emphasis effect here, and let me click on more effects option. You can see we are having a various emphasis effects options here. So now I require what a spin option here, so that rectangle object rotate like this. As you can see here, during the preview, you can see the rectangle object is rotating like this. So now I want to keep this effect for rectangle. Again, click OK here. And you can see here, the rectangle object enters the scene first with this effect. After this, by using a 4 seconds delay, oval appears the scene. And after that, on click, rectangle rotates, isn't it? So now let me change the effect here. I don't want to display on click. It has to display what after previous. But before oval appears the scene, you can see here I have changed the order now. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ರೆಕ್ಟಾಂಗಲ್ ಸೀನ್ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಹೌದಾ, ಫ್ರಮ್ ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಹೌದಾ. ಸೊ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಎಂಫಸಿಸ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ so that rectangle spins like this, and after this oval enters the scene. So this is what the order now. ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. So now let me see how it works. Give a slideshow. On click, rectangle appears and the emphasis effect is happening. After that, circle is working. So this is how we can add multiple effects for the objects. So after this, assume that this rectangle has to disappear. It has to exit from the scene. So in this case, what we need to do? Again, we need to select a rectangle object. Again, go to add effect. Now I'm going to select exit effect because it has to exit from the scene. So now let me select exit and let me select a fly out. So now again, I'm going to change the direction. It has to move to leftwards like this. And this should happen after previous effect. So now let me give a slideshow. Look at this, how beautifully the rectangle object enters the scene, rotates it, circle appears, and immediately rectangle disappears from the scene. So this is how we can apply the various animation effects for the various objects. So you should creatively apply these effects depending upon your requirement to make the presentation even more effective for the audience. Hope you have understood.